My M/25 girlfriend, F/24, decided on her own to uproot our lives based on a K-drama. What do I do next? Background: my girlfriend, let's call her May, and I have been together for the last 5 years. We met in college. I have been working for the last 3 years as a software dev, while May graduated just last year and has been working for 2 as a teacher. We've been living together since February of this year, thankfully right before COVID. A couple of years ago, May and I came to an agreement to not talk about marriage until our lives are set up, i.e., we both have jobs and we found a place to live together. We recently had a talk in August of this year, 6 months of living together, and have decided that we're ready to get married. So I have been shopping for a ring and planned on proposing on New Year's Eve of this year. However, May has thrown a wrench into those plans. The problem at hand: May and her friend, let's call her Joyce, have been watching a K-drama, Startup, on Netflix. Joyce is also a software dev and works at a company that's well known to treat their employees well but is extremely difficult to get a job at. Now, something in that show convinced May that her true calling was to work as a software dev at a startup based on what she saw on the show and based on Joyce's stories about working at her job. Now, May is not unhappy with her job as a teacher, but she thinks working as a software dev is more prestigious, you get more benefits and the working environment is more fun. I have tried to explain to May that working as a software dev isn't all sunshine and roses. A lot of companies will not treat you as well as Joyce's does, mine sure as hell doesn't, nor it's a guarantee that you'll be close to all your co-workers like the characters in the show. I've explained my experiences with working as a software dev, the tight schedules, working out for free, etc. But May still insists that this is her calling. So to support her, I've started to explain how my workday went and explained some of the problems I've experienced or solved in semi-technical terms, i.e., like someone didn't commit their updates to the repo or how I forgot that programming languages are case sensitive, and I can see her eyes glaze over. Furthermore, May hates math and a computing science degree program has 8 math courses. May wants me to help her achieve her dream and tutor her in the areas where she is going to struggle, most likely math. Due to my work randomly asking me to work hard from time to time and my general mental fatigue after work, having to relearn 4 years worth of university level math and tutor May on the side is just too much. I said to her that maybe she needs to give it some time to think it over and discuss how we should proceed if she decides to go, since this decision affects me too. She said yes, she will think and let me know when she decides. And I haven't heard anything about becoming a software dev until last night. Last night, May comes into our family room to let me know she finished her application for a local college for their computing science program. She also said to put a hold on our marriage plans until she finds out if she got in, and if she did, wait until she graduates and finds a job. This made me mad because she didn't tell me her decision as promised and that she made this decision without any thought on how it would affect me. I do not make enough to pay for our rent, food, utilities and everything else on just my salary alone. So we would have to break our lease and move back with our parents. She's expecting me to relearn 4 years worth of university math after work to help her pass math and help her with her studies, so it'll be like going back to school again. And I now need to wait for 4+ years for her, and since May likes studying in isolation, so I likely will be barely seeing her for those 4 years. May has some amount of student debt from her education degree, now she will be taking on more debt for her computing science degree. If, and this is a big if now, we get married, I will likely ask for a prenup to keep our finances separate so I'm not on the hook for her debt from a decision she made alone. I told her that she promised to discuss this decision to go back to school once she made it, and she didn't consider the impact that this decision would have on both of our lives. I told her that this was selfish and we needed to make big decisions like that as a team. She told me that I promised to help her achieve her dream and that she thought I would be fine with her going back to school since becoming a program drama is now her dream. We haven't spoken since last night. Luckily I'm working from home, so I need to tell my parents that there's a possibility that I have to move back sometime next year, talk to our landlord about possibly breaking our lease early and returning the engagement ring during my lunch break. I'm still pissed she made the decision on her own. I don't know what to do now. Any advice would be helpful. Too long didn't read. My girlfriend and I have agreed to get married soon and have recently moved in together. She applied to go back to school, without telling me, and get a degree based on a K-drama she watched and her friends' experiences in that field. I think she is going to hate studying for that degree and working in that field. I work in that field as well. In doing so, she is going to get more student debt, force us to move apart and back with our parents, expect me to relearn my college material to help her pass her courses, and delay moving our relationship forward for 4+ years. Where do I go from here? Edit, added some more details in my too long didn't read. Edit number 2, a lot of posters suggested that may take part-time classes and work. While that is a potential solution, there's a chance she doesn't go for it. During her first year of work, she did a lot of work at night marking and doing report cards. I don't think she would want to work a full-time job and go to school at night. Additionally, the program she signed up for is for full-time students, so the courses will be in the day. For the record, I do not think there is anything wrong with wanting to make a career change. That being said, I'd suggest she apply to a community college to take a few tangentially related courses to see if that's something she actually likes, and 2 is something she wants to truly pursue. Wouldn't whole hog jump into a university program without having a feel for if I like it or not, otherwise it's a waste of time and money. There's no reason she can't take classes like this part-time at a community college or even online classes. Why can't she continue to work and take night classes part-time? Lots of universities offer night classes for adult students in her position. If she did that, she could continue to pay her share of the rent and other bills while trying out this career move. This would make the most sense and allow her to assess whether programming is really a path she wants to pursue. For that matter, if she's serious, she should be making efforts to learn on her own via online courses and books. There are programs that don't require tons of math. It seems like she's really not put much thought or research into this major life decision. Why don't you encourage her to sign up for shorter online programming courses? That way she can see if it's for her. Otherwise she could uproot your lives and realize 2 weeks into her college course that she can't cope. Also, what if in 4 years' time she sees something else on TV and wants to change your lives again? What it comes down to is this: do not make enough to pay for our rent, food, utilities and everything else on just my salary alone. So we would have to break our lease and move back with our parents. She's expecting me to relearn 4 years worth of university math after work to help her pass math and help her with her studies, so it'll be like going back to school again. And I now need to wait for 4+ years for her, and since May likes studying in isolation, so I likely will be barely seeing her for those 4 years. If you are not on board with doing all this, but your girlfriend is insisting on changing all your plans, then what other options are there except breaking up? This isn't a slight change to the plan, this is a complete 180, and if you don't want to proceed with it, you don't have to. She needs to take an intro class at community college, but lots of teachers leave. It's a high turnover profession. You should not be surprised she wants to pursue something else. If it wasn't this, it would be something else. I, 25F, was attacked and robbed by a man in an elevator, and now my husband, 31M, is stressing me out even more than necessary. Long story short, almost a week ago I had to drop something off at my friend's apartment. It's a huge apartment complex and the chances of encountering someone in the elevator are pretty high and nothing unusual, so I really wasn't expecting to get attacked by a random man when the doors of the elevator closed. It was a very traumatic experience for me, but I'm so glad that I got away with only a broken nose and bruises. It could have ended a lot worse, and I'm incredibly grateful it didn't. The man also took my phone and purse. Police/authorities have been contacted and the man has been found. I don't have any relations to this man, so it really was just a random attack. I'm currently recovering, more mentally than physically, and I'd love to have a little bit of peace, but that's not possible with my husband. Of course this incident didn't just scare the hell out of me but him as well, but he's transferring his constant distress and panic to me. Immediately after the incident he bought me pepper spray and a self-defense keychain. He's currently trying to install security cameras almost everywhere, and he's also planning to change our door locks. He bought me a new phone and downloaded an app on it so he's going to be able to track me at any time, and he also wants to teach me self-defense techniques. He does martial arts training for kids and adults, so he's experienced with that. Don't get me wrong, I really appreciate all of his efforts to keep me safe, but he can barely sit still for even 2 minutes. This incident stressed him out even more than me, I think. At night, he won't come to bed because he's researching something about security cameras or things like that. I'm starting to get really worried about him because he's not getting any sleep and stresses himself out really bad, but he won't listen to me when I tell him that he should relax for like 5 minutes. As I said, I'm grateful for the things he's doing, but I would be even more grateful if he calmed down for a bit. How should I tell him that he should stop stressing himself out? Or what am I supposed to do in general? Too long didn't read. I was attacked and robbed by a man in an elevator, which resulted in a stolen phone and purse and a broken nose with tons of bruises. My husband has been really stressed out because of this incident and now stresses me out with his behavior. From his point of view, he totally failed you, the person he loves the most. As a martial arts instructor, this is exactly the scenario he is training people to deal with, yet it happened to you with some scary and painful injuries. Maybe a therapist can help him gain the perspective that you can do everything right, be prepared, and still have a bad outcome through no fault of your own. Reassure him that this awful experience isn't due to any failure to protect or prepare you. I am sorry you had to experience this. Your husband is trying to take a bit of control back from a situation that has made him feel terrified and powerless. Many men, I know I'm generalizing, have a need to protect and provide. Doesn't matter if it's because of traditional gender roles or if it's how we are wired, because it's there. We want to protect our families and at some level feel like it's our job. He couldn't protect you from this. Who could? And his mind is probably running through what could have happened: killed, stabbed, raped, kidnapped. I'm guessing he thinks that his actions are helping your recovery, but in fact they are adding to your stress. He is in problem-solving mode and not in emotional support mode. The only way to snap him out of it is to explain that you understand and appreciate what he is doing, but it is not what you need right now. He might not hear it at first, but he needs to know that you need him next to you in bed and his arms around you on the couch more than you need a new camera in the hallway. I tell him exactly this. Hey, husband, I know this is coming from a place of genuine caring, and I do appreciate the sentiment, but I'm trying to lower my blood pressure after this attack, and right now everything you're doing is only stressing me out more. If we need to find you someone else to talk to about your anxieties, we can do that, but I can't take much more of this new hypervigilance. I don't find it helpful or healing, and I need you to listen to me on this. Would he consider therapy? I think this is one of those situations where men and women react very differently. Women are basically taught to be scared their entire lives of being assaulted/raped/murdered. So, while being mugged and assaulted is super fucking scary, for many women you'd be super thankful it wasn't any worse. Thankful the guy was caught and ready to just move on with your life. For a dude, the thought of being overpowered isn't a real thing to them, unless it's actually happened to them or someone they love. This, I'm guessing, is the first time for him. He's not lived his entire life with constant warnings and threats and anxiety and scares. I can only assume having that happen all at once, as an adult, it's world-changing. And he needs to go talk this out with someone else. Small town X, F21, want no contact but end up seeing her when I'm, M20s, out. I had an explosive breakup with my girlfriend of 1 year, and I really don't want to see her anymore. She's a liar, cheater, and overall the biggest narcissist I've ever had the misfortune of loving. I live in an extremely small town, and while I want absolutely no contact with her, I've already seen her once, with another guy already, just going out to shop. She of course had to make a pass in front of me to make sure I saw her. What am I supposed to do in this situation? I honestly wanted to make a scene and give her the attention and drama she wants. But obviously that's not good for anyone. I'm anxious about getting a new job and seeing her friends when I'm working. I honestly want to hide in my house and avoid everyone. She's completely spun the narrative to every mutual friend that I was jealous and controlling when I caught her several times sexting other guys, flirting with guys at bars when my back's turned, and just kissing a guy at a party. Apparently she's the victim in all this because I couldn't love her unconditionally and set boundaries to protect my own happiness. It all makes me sick and I hate it. What am I supposed to do? Move? I try to ignore it, but seeing her today or seeing her car gives me a panic attack. I have nightmares about all the anxiety she's caused me. And in the end she gaslit and lied to me so much I felt crazy and like I was really losing my mind. I did love her, but she has a black hole inside her that she needs to fill herself. Anyone ever been in a similar situation, and what did you do? Sorry this is a bit ramble. Why? Stream of conscious. I'm stressed out. Too long didn't read. Want to avoid X in a small town. What to do if I do see her? She seems to want a reaction. Putting this here just so it doesn't go missing down at the bottom. Sorry I couldn't get back to everyone. I fell asleep after a few of you replied and woke up to this having so many comments. I ended up crying because so many of you shared how you could relate and ways you've dealt with your emotions in my situation, with some really great tips on mental exercises to help. I really felt the support, and after all this and feeling isolated because I'm not from here and having no one on my team, it was nice to be assured I'm not crazy and it's okay to be hurt by all of this. Thank you for that. Also thank you so much for the hugs award. I probably didn't deserve it for such a frantic post, but thank you, even though I would trade it for a real hug any day. Smile. Some people commented basically saying that I don't sound perfect in all of this, and I want to say I agree. I know you're only getting my side of things. I don't think I'm flawless in our relationship, and I know my mental illness makes me hard to love at times. There's so much I wish I did differently, the number one thing being never yelling at her. I had never, ever raised my voice to someone I cared about like that, and it makes me sick that I lost my temper towards someone I said I loved. I had really never had any of these problems in a relationship before either, such as being insecure and jealous, and maybe that was the biggest sign I should have left. I think the only right answer ever was to walk away as soon as she let me see how she was the first time, instead of hoping she would change. I'm going to do my best to internalize your guys' advice and not let my fear of seeing her keep me from living my life. I'm already telling myself I'm over it and she's the one who is anxious to see me, that I have armor on anytime I leave the house, and that I'll be a grey rock if I have to. I feel embarrassed and stupid reading some of the comments saying bad things about her because I did love her. I don't want to say she's a WH3 or anything like that. I think she has some deep problems she never addressed that cause her to act out like this, and it's sad, and I want her to get help and find happiness too. When we first met she acted like she only hung out with her mother and girl best friend, acted really innocent and cute, and all of that, and I fell hard for her. I think most people act on their best behavior when they meet someone they're attracted to, and I think deep down that's the type of girl she wants or wanted to be. Slowly she would tell me, or I would find out things about her that went way opposite of this, but even then I tried to inspire her and let her know I loved and accepted her. All that mattered was that she wasn't trying to live like that anymore. I've changed a ton, and I went from a pretty bad person to someone that others can look up to, even despite my problems still. But in the end I felt like I was her dad more than her boyfriend, that I had to be perfectly loving and she was allowed to act out and hurt me. She wouldn't discuss things, just get better at hiding them. Stuff like that drove us apart more than her cheating and lying, I think. Anyways, I won't ramble any longer again. Second time, thank you for all the comments and support and advice. It feels a lot easier to breathe today, and I feel like I have some tools to handle this now. I appreciate you all more than you know.